Hey, and welcome back to Connecting the Dots. Today we're going to talk a little bit about when transparency might not be your best next step. And the first part that we're going to talk about is simply data. The question is, are you surveying at the provider level? So do you have the data to actually become transparent with? And a lot of times people will say no because they're doing HCAP surveys, which of course everyone is doing because it has to do with reimbursement, but they're not yet getting the provider level surveys. And the question you would have to ask is, why are you not doing it? Sometimes it's because of strategic alignment, maybe it's a cost issue. But the reality is that you should probably be doing surveying at the provider level at some point. Now, do you have to do full HCAP or CGCAPS surveys or that kind of thing? It's very complex. No, you really don't. Not at this point. And in fact, there may be some benefit in the simplicity of going with other technologies. There's lots of different ways you can go about surveying, lots of different companies and technologies for doing this. But beginning on that path may be your first step. Now, if you are collecting the data and you're looking at this, the next reason why you might not want to look at transparency as your next step is because if you have a culture that is disengaged or lacks trust in your organization. In fact, the most recent Edelman Trust Report that came out in 2016 said that 30% of people who work in healthcare organizations don't trust those organizations. And if that's a situation that you've got, moving towards transparency can really be seen as a very manipulative or punitive kind of thing, as opposed to the program that it's intended to be to bring everybody on the same page and be unified. So you might have to deal with those kinds of trust or engagement issues first before you can move in this direction. The third the third place you might want to not consider moving in the direction of transparency quite yet is when you don't have programs in place to help struggling physicians or providers be able to improve. So if you can point out that, hey, there's a problem, but you don't have a solution to help them improve, then moving in the direction of transparency is not the next thing you need to do. Now, that being said, you oftentimes can use internal private transparency to raise the awareness and raise the engagement of those providers around the fact that there is a problem and that it's something that they should solve. But then you've got to slow down and make sure that you've got the supporting tools in place to help them improve. And then finally, the last piece, and this is really something that's more for long term, is you really don't want to move in the direction of transparency if the only thing you're thinking of is a marketing tactic. Because ultimately, this is supposed to be something that moves the organization towards unity, accountability, and performance improvement. And if you're not moving in that direction and you look at this purely as a marketing tactic, then you'll lose a lot of the momentum that you could have if you had the right focus. So hopefully those help and help you frame when the right time is for transparency efforts in your organization. And next time we'll talk a little bit more on connecting the dots. Thank you.